And we all say that if you are from this continent, find someone on the team who speaks your language. So welcome. It's nice to have you here.
Wow.
We've been joined by Megan
Thank
McCormick,
you.
of our leading ladies. Yes, my dear Elizabeth. If you are from this continent, find someone on the team who speaks your language. So welcome. It's nice to have you here.
Wow.
We've been joined by Megan. You need to Rosa. Yes, my dear. Thank you. Ladies, we are now streaming live. So wherever you're joining us from, welcome. This is FMLive, and I'm being joined by 5 amazing ladies today. We are going to be considering a basket of $500, which will go to one female-led business working in Africa's local community. I would like to officially welcome the ladies who have joined us today. Firstly, I'd like to thank them for the work that they do, which is the main reason for which we have invited them. Secondly, I would like to say that for us here at Royal Thai and at Thais Africa, it's been a very modest beginning, starting in September with Esther and Kanyisile Mamba, who both received grants of $500 each. We have come into the month of October with several applications. The finalists for this month are Favor Konyefa and Elizabeth Yang. We have just said welcome to Elizabeth, and she's on the line now. So I'm going to swivel right back to my panelists. Thank you again and welcome. Today I would like to begin the introductions with Yetunde Adepoju. Yetunde, would you tell us what you do?
Yeah, so good afternoon from where I am speaking to you from, which is in Lagos, Nigeria. I am honored to be on this panelist with the other females, and I want to just say a special thank you to Thais for the work that they do and that they're doing for women in Africa, women entrepreneurs in Africa. I'll make it short and quick. I have over 20 years experience in the areas of finance, technology, strategy, and operations. About 12 of those years were actually spent in the corporate world. So I've worked for HSBC, Reuters, and the Capital Group in Irvine, California. During my time as a corporate worker, I had a heart for service, and I decided to, educate myself in the nonprofit sector. So I went for training at the Riordan Institute in Los Angeles, California, and I actually participated as a board member for Theater of Hearts for Youth. And I decided to make a switch in my career to focus on my family, and that's when my entrepreneurship journey began. So I have set up a couple of businesses over the last few years, but more recently I decided to become a financial coach, being that most of my experience is actually in the financial world. And I decided to do that because I noticed that people don't particularly, here in Africa I should say, and maybe around the world, don't particularly pay attention to personal finance. So I do financial coaching for people, men, women, children, the last few months now.
Fantastic.
So that's it in a
Thank you very
nutshell.
much, Yetunde. Thank you. I'm going to swivel right then. Megan.
Hello.
Oh, there you are. Welcome.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Asante. In Lagos, and you, I believe, are in Accra, Ghana. Would you like to tell the women here what it is that you do exactly in Accra?
Yes, and I'm sorry, I'm on the move. I had a bit of a scheduling conflict, but I'm very happy to be here. So my name is Megan, and I'm the co-founder, and CEO of a technology company called Oze. And what we do at Oze is we help small business owners in both Ghana and Nigeria form habits around digital record keeping and use the data that they collect to make better business decisions, as well as access to capital for their business. My career started in West Africa and the Republic of Guinea as a Peace Corps volunteer, where I started the country's first small business accelerator and have been working with SMEs around the region ever since. I also had a brief corporate career doing innovation strategy work for Fortune 500 companies, and then went back to graduate school to study business and government so that I could turn all the experience that I had into building a tool that I thought would help, up to thousands of small business owners succeed, but millions. So that's the journey I'm on today from Ghana.
Fantastic. Thank you, Megan. So from personal finance to digital record keeping, we are on a trend today. I'm going to go to Dorothy Toma now. Hi, Dorothy. Welcome again. I'd like you to tell the women what it is that you do, especially for women here in East Africa.
Okay, thank you, Funke. It's a pleasure to be here with everyone. And so I, like Yetunde, I started my professional life in corporate America. So I did 10 years of brand management in the US and then felt the need to make a difference. And so I founded a non-profit. So I've got an organization that works in Uganda with women, rural-based and peri-urban women entrepreneurs. So we give them microloans, again, the issue of finance, because really this is a challenge in our part of the world. So at the Women's Center for Job Creation, we give women microloans that are in kind. We buy them what they need and then they pay us back. And the money goes into a revolving fund so that as it gets paid back, we can keep on spinning it out to new borrowers. So that's one of the things that I do. The other thing that I do is I am also I also founded a consulting practice. So again, that transition, US to Nigeria for Yetunde, US to Uganda for me. And in my consulting work, I work with, again, primarily development agencies that want to support the growth of micro and small business enterprises. So I've done a lot of work for, if you're from East Africa, you'd be familiar with Trademark East Africa, which does a lot of work to facilitate regional trade. So I've done a lot of work for them around designing programs that support entrepreneurship growth again. And then I would say, also in my consulting work, one of my current projects now that I'm really excited about is working with women who are in the shea butter value chain. And where I'm working with, the project is supposed to reach over 7,000 women in Uganda and South Sudan and help them to increase their incomes through better production, meeting the quality standards required for international trade and that kind of a thing. So I think in a nutshell, the other thing I'd want to mention is I recently handed over the chair of the East African Women in Business platform, which represents women through their women business associations. And the East African Women in Business platform represents about 20,000 women entrepreneurs from across the region through our office based in Arusha, Tanzania. So I think I'll stop there for now.
Thank you, Dorothy. 20,000 women, amazing work. And from managing women businesses and helping them to grow by providing in-kind funding, I'm going to move to Louisa Gadesha. Hi, Louisa.
Hi, Funke. Thank you so much for making me be part of this team. I'm happy to be part of a group of women supporting other women. Yeah, so I have 9 years experience in business development, working within the East Africa region, with top multinational companies such as Diageo and Pernod Ricard, importing wines and spirits into the region. And within my 9 years, I was able to identify a problem that I turned into a business idea, and that is how I co-founded Bottle Logistics East Africa Limited. We recover industrial and post-consumer glass waste and leverage on technology to process it into highly refined glass cullets. We also work with local food and beverage companies to create sustainable, returnable models for their reusable glass bottles. And through our activities, we are able to promote the circular economy, leading to sustainable cities and creating employment for the youth and women. Thank you.
Thank you, Louisa. So we, in this call, you are my star entrepreneur. Excuse me. I must say that Louisa is special because in another life, she is my student. And I am very proud of what she has been able to achieve and the work that Poly Logistics is doing. One of the reasons why she's a leading lady on this panel today is that they have been able to take what we call informal waste management to a higher level and turn recycling into a profitable business that is scaling here in Kenya. Welcome again, ladies. The next lady you're about to hear from is very special to me. And I have invited her onto this program because she intuitively picks winners. I had the privilege of sitting with her, judging global innovation earlier this year. And I noticed that the intuition with which she recognized winners was real and would be useful to us in our work here. Welcome another of those women who have imbued the intellectual DNA of Callista's chama. It is my honor and my pleasure to have Julia Pettenville on this call today. Hi, Julia. What do you do?
Hi, Funke. I feel like Funke's introductions are very generous and humbling. It is tremendous to be part of this panel. I love women and I love Africa, and I'm just thinking about the power of all of us being on this panel together, and I was so inspired by the finalists and watching their videos last night. So just a little bit about me, I'll keep it brief. I serve as the Executive Director for the Schooner Foundation. We're Boston based, and we have a broad focus on human rights and work both domestically and internationally. We work in the sector of human rights and social justice. We focus on global health equity, economic and empowerment and education, as well as the environment. It's extremely broad. My background, my journey in Africa began as, over 40 years ago, when as a 3-year-old girl, my father went to work with GIZ, which is a German organization, and we moved actually to a Zambian village, 10 hours from Lusaka on the Angolan border. And his professional journey took him to many different countries, both rural and urban, and my love for girls and women began very early on. I went to live in South Africa in 1993 when Mandela became president. It was a very powerful time, again, very focused on women and girls, and then moved to Boston. And what I'll just say is that my professional journey has been focused on program, moved then into fundraising, non-profit leadership, and now grant making. So I always say, whatever you're working on, I've probably been in that space in some way. And I just cannot say enough about how important women and girls are in supporting them, and also how all of us are where we are today because of opportunities and mentorship by other women. And so it's just a privilege to be here, and I'm excited to join this conversation.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Julia. It is true. It is because of women like yourselves that we are here today. We usually say it takes a village to raise a child. But I say it takes a village to raise an entrepreneur. And we are that village, a global village of women who are getting stronger and helping other women to strengthen themselves in business as well. So because we are a global village, we operate Ties Africa like a global chama. I usually say, ask a Kenyan woman what that means. It's not unique to Kenya because we have such groups in Nigeria as well. They're called Ajo or Esusu groups. We also have them in parts of Morocco. On the last episode of this program, Jane Chawakiwa of South Africa told us that in her country, it's a 2 billion plus business, and she was speaking in US dollars. So chamas are not small by any means. They are also a model that has worked for us in Africa for many years. Here at Ties, what we do is we come together and we give towards one basket, a basket of $500. It's small enough to many of us, but it's big to many of our sisters. And for this reason, we make it open to them as a gift, not to be paid back, but to be paid for when they have grown as well. Today, we are not only contributing funds, we're also contributing expertise and insight. And so you will find that in addition to the panelists who are on the call today, we also have some partners, academics, and observers. On the partnership side, we have Alisa Sido, who is the co-founder of Nampelka. Nampelka makes wines and coffee, and we have an all-female value chain. Alisa is also a professor at ESCP, and she focuses on female entrepreneurship. And so we say that one side feeds the other. As wine is related to women because, well, Mother Nature made grapes for the pleasure of humankind, and men made wine for the pleasure of women. And now with Nampelka, women are making wine for the pleasure of the world. And so we support them and they support us to make this platform possible. I'd also like to thank Divine Muraj Gimana. She's sitting in New York at Savoir Faire Global. They support us by handling all the transaction fees that comes with us sending the $500 to the women. So here we are. It takes a village. We are that village. How are we raising one another? I've made a list of points that I would like the panelists to address. And some of those points are very natural to them because it's what they do on a day-to-day basis. For those women who are listening from the outside, these questions are to help educate those of us who need it and inform those of us who are looking for connections, for mentoring, and for points of support. I make bold to say that every lady on this call today is committed to helping other women and will assist you if you reach out to them. They will give you their expertise and support, and they will help with referrals within their network. This is what we do to make it good. So this time I'm going to start with you, Dorothy. Regional trade integration. What is this and how do we make it work? Today we're on a call with women from Ghana, Eswatini, Nigeria, Benin, Burundi. How do we make regional trade a reality for all of Africa?
Yeah, isn't that the question of the year, really? As we think about the African Continental Free Trade Area as well, and the signing of that agreement earlier this year and its launch. So, with regional trade, what I do or what I did and what I still do in a different capacity with the East African Women in Business platform is to try and get women to trade more with each other across the borders. You know, when we look at how much trade goes on between EU countries versus how much trade goes on between the countries of Africa, there's a big deficit. In fact, most African countries trade more with Europe than they do with themselves. And so with regional integration, we're trying to get people to trade more with each other on the continent, I mean, with regional trade. We'd like to see more of those goods and services flowing across borders. We'd actually eventually like to see those borders disappearing so that there is that true free movement of goods and services within the region, within the continent of Africa. And a lot of a big challenge, I think, that women in business in East Africa that we deal with say, oh, how do I find the market? How do I find the customers that I can actually connect with and sell to? And so being part of a network is a big help in that regard. Lots of WhatsApp groups have sprung up, and we find that women across East Africa are able to communicate with each other via WhatsApp, sharing pictures of goods that are available, and then a woman will say, oh yes, I'm interested in that. how might I help with that? So these groups are starting to form, and interestingly enough, WhatsApp has become a very key tool for communication and sharing of information. One of the barriers, however, which maybe Megan may have something to say about, is how do you pay? When you transact, how do payments happen? Because you would want to get that payment in advance for the goods that you want to send out, just because Africa being what Africa is, you really would want to get that paid in advance. But how do you get the money across when you're dealing with different currencies? You're dealing with mobile money platforms that are on differently. The platforms don't necessarily connect. So this is one of the challenges, and there are a few apps that now bridge borders, but that's going to be one of the things that we have to deal with in the future, is getting people to connect, knowing the markets, finding a supplier that you can trust with goods and products that are actually of the right quality, trusted quality, so that you're not buying something that will harm your health or harm the environment in some way. So all those things around standards and regulations and all that, we need to come up to speed. So women starting small businesses and sort of trying to circumvent or get around without necessarily getting the right certifications. This is a call to say, hey, if you want to be involved in regional trade, you need to have a quality product. You need to get your certifications. You need to be running a formal business. And then by that I mean a registered business. And then you'll be able to get access to all these opportunities. Would you like me to say more? Because I could talk all morning on this topic.
Actually, when you referred to Megan, I've got to say that on my list, Megan was next, because I was going to swivel to her and ask her, small business, how do you articulate? How do you include? How do you do tech support for them at that level? And this makes sense when we look at it in light of what Dorothy has just said. How do they pay? Here in Kenya, because of M-Pesa, there's been a lot of... And so women are able to make payments that are not physical. However, it's not yet easy to do those payments across countries. I cannot yet send M-Pesa to someone in, say, Nigeria without having to go through certain other steps. So Megan, on your side, how are you managing at OZE to do this with entrepreneurs?
Yes, thank you. I mean, it's a huge problem. It's not something that we specifically have been able to figure out. OZE partners with other payment service providers in order to help the customers move from cash to digital payments. But I would call on the big telcos like Safaricom, like MTN. They definitely have the ear of government, and they operate in multiple countries. So it drives me crazy that I can't move money from, let's say, MTN in Ghana to an MTN account in Britain, that I have to go through exchanges, I have to pay heavy rates. Well, ostensibly, it's the same company, right? It's the same thing with my UBA bank account. I have one in Benin, I have one in Guinea. But to try to move money between the two is just as difficult as moving it from my US bank account over to the continent, where there's no relationship between those two banks. That's for me to move money from the US to Africa, then in between African countries. So what we try to help the small business owners do to digitize their payments is to make them aware of the value and benefit of using digital currency. Because so many people are short-sighted on the fees. They feel like cash is free to use, but mobile money comes with fees. And then there's always negotiation. Do I, as a merchant, pay this fee? The customer has to add the fee onto their purchase. But cash itself is risky. You make many more mistakes with cash. You can lose your cash can get damaged. The cost associated with going to pull your cash from the bank and going to put your cash in the bank, or even if you're using, agency banking or a mobile money point. So the first step is getting people to realize, yes, you pay a fee that you can see with mobile money, but that fee is slightly less than the risk and the cost that you're covering with cash. Once you get to that point, then it's all about building trust between the seller and their consumers. And one way that we work in helping our merchants build trust is to actually use digital receipts and invoices. So that maybe I met you over WhatsApp, and that's why I need to pay you with mobile money. How do I know you're not a scam artist? How do I know that you're a real business? Well, something that we found is that if the entrepreneur can actually send a digital receipt or a digital invoice to this customer before they ask for payment over mobile money, they're much, much more likely to close the deal because they seem like a real business, they seem like they're formal, and they take some steps to build trust in the customer relationship. So I think we have a long way to go before we can move all of our MSMEs off cash onto digital currencies. But we really need the collaboration of the big corporates, the telcos, the banks, as well as the government to be able to reduce costs and do mass education campaigns around the benefits of using these systems. And of course, collaboration between governments, because if we could get cross-border to be at least cheap, if not free, then we would see a lot more regional trade.
Thank you, Megan. Indeed, there would be a lot more regional trade. Without it, it takes all of us to make this happen. Louisa Gadesha is doing business in Kenya as a female entrepreneur working in a large informal market. Most of the people who supply the raw materials that go into Louisa's work are unbanked. So my next question, Louisa, how do you manage between your suppliers and your customers?
Sorry, Funke, I think you're breaking up a little bit. Would you just come again the last statement?
I was asking, you manage between your suppliers and your customers, considering the fact that many of the people who supply the informal waste materials that you use are unbanked. How do you pay them, and how do you do regional trade in the countries that you work in, between Kenya and, say, TZ or Uganda?
All right, okay. Yeah, for us, our industry is actually very, very informal. Our key suppliers of the glass waste would be, glass aggregators, waste collection companies, small-scale traders. So in Kenya, I think we are a little bit ahead in terms of payments. We actually have digitized M-Pesa payments. It's usually our greatest mode of payments to our suppliers. Our customers, fortunately, are more of multinational companies. There's bank transfers, but when it comes to trading between Kenya and Uganda, because you have some customers in Uganda, they're actually barriers, but we have some banks that actually have regional centers like Chartered Bank here and there. So once you open accounts in both centers, you're actually just able to make the payments through the banks because it's more integrated within the East African region. Yes, but our major form of payment is mostly through M-Pesa.
Mostly through.
Yeah, and now there's an option of transferring funds from bank to M-Pesa direct or through M-Pesa bulk payments or M-Pesa phone to M-Pesa phone transactions.
Fantastic. What I mean, each one of customers or suppliers a phone that can do a mobile transaction.
Okay, I'm losing you. I don't know if I'm the only one, but your internet is breaking.
Is it better here? Can you hear me better?
Yeah, that's better.
Fantastic. We did say that since we're working in the fantastic market of Africa, if I drop off on one side, you will hear me on the other. Yes, the other system has been used. Thank you. Thank you, Louisa. Is it better now?
Yes, it is much better.
Fantastic. I was going to go from Louisa to Julia, and this is the reason why. Louisa is at a point in her business where she's scaling to the next level, and it's about time to start speaking to investors. Now, today's program program is about women who are speaking to us as little investments in their businesses. But Louisa is going to be speaking to a bigger audience for a bigger investment in her own business. From your experience and from what you know, Julia, what would you say investors are looking for? And how can we women better position ourselves for investment?
Thanks. What I would say is what investors are really looking at is the strength of the entrepreneur in the team, a good, solid business plan, having an ambitious vision, but also having a practical path to get there. I would say what I often think about in the American space is the power of networks and relationships. And I would say, Louisa, that if I were giving anyone advice about how to get sort of break into the space, I would say really build relationships, look at your networks, do your homework, see who's a good fit. I think often people will go in front. I often think the power dynamics are a little off as well. You should be interviewing an investor as much as they're interviewing you to see whether, that's someone you want to sort of go to the next level with. Of course, we look at, of course, investors look at things like the product, the technology, the competitive environment, the marketing, the sales, the partnership. Who else do you have as an investor? Additional factors, your location. But I think the other advice I would say is, I certainly do this in my own work. Definitely rely on peers. Test your pitch, have peer review. I think when you sort of prime that relationship and get in front of an investment group, you want to really be ready and anticipate a lot of the questions. The other thing I would say is I really believe in radical transparency, and I think being really authentic and honest about your challenges and proposed solutions. I think I've often, I think just being very, bringing yourself to the conversation. So that's what I would say.
Thank you. Thank you, Julia. Bringing yourself to the conversation. One of the things that kept coming back to me in what you said is making sure that you test your pitch. Know your audience, but also be honest about your challenges. So here on this side, in Africa specifically, one of the biggest challenges is knowing how to manage finances in a frugal way and also finding that funding in the first place. So yesterday, the next question is yours. How would you advise entrepreneurs, especially those of us who are women, to manage our money so that we can get more investment?
Right. Thanks for the question, Funke. I think this problem is actually not unique to Africa or to women in general. As a financial coach, when I talk to people, and maybe women in particular, but like I said, it's a general problem, is that people don't often like to talk about money. Okay, we all go to school, we learn how to make money, and you would think that most of us talk about it. We don't know what it means to budget. We don't know what it means to set personal goals. We go to first learn how to manage their personal finance. Learn about personal finance. What is it? It's basically learning how to earn money, manage money, save money, and invest money. That's how you build wealth. It's not enough that you're just, earning an income. You have to put that money to use. You have to make that money work for you. So, it starts off by basically, setting a budget. Okay? That's the very first basic step. And setting a budget just really allows you to be disciplined. And then establishing goals. What kind of things do you want to accomplish? in the next, let's say, 1 to 5 years, a short-term goal, maybe a midterm goal, and then a long-term goal? Are you somebody who's looking to maybe start a family, get married, have kids? Are you somebody who is maybe in the corporate world now, who maybe is looking to transition into being an entrepreneur? Everything you do in life, okay, you're going to need funds for. So it's not just about earning money. You need to be able to set out those goals, to be able to establish goals, to be able to accomplish those goals. So setting up a budget, I would say, and then being disciplined in accomplishing those goals. Set bite-sized goals, okay, not lofty goals. So with everything you do, make sure that it's realistic, okay. Make sure that if, for instance, you want to purchase a home, you look at your current situation. Are you earning enough money to be able to accomplish those goals? Do you maybe need to get more training? Do you maybe need to advance yourself, get an additional degree or an additional skill in order to be able to earn more, to be able to get to that next level? And so for women in particular, back to your question, women traditionally, we tend to delegate the financial aspect of our lives to our partners, spouses. That's the way it's been traditionally. But in the course of the work that I do, I continue to encourage women, and I can say maybe things are changing a little bit. Women historically know how to maybe earn money, but when it comes to managing it or investing it, they leave it to the men or their spouses, as I said. But more women are taking control now. I think they understand the essence of, the sort of complete holistic, financial planning. And so for me, it's encouraging to see that. And sometimes, I get emails from women, like DMs, direct messages saying that, I want to do this, but, I'm not sure how to approach my partner, for instance, or I'm not sure how to go about it. It's really having a conversation. Women are afraid. They don't want to take that charge. And that's because part of it has to do with culture as well. That historically we've always let the men lead when it comes to, making decisions about money. But now we're seeing that trend changing, and we're encouraging women that, as so long as you're making money, you can be part of that conversation. Don't delegate. You can be part of that conversation. So that's what I would say, is that, people need to learn about personal finance. It's nothing to be afraid of. And managing money is not as complex as what people think it is. That's another thing that, women in particular, tend to stay away from. They think it's a complex thing, but it's really not. So that's what I would say. Okay.
Thank you. It takes discipline to manage money, especially when it's in your hands and the decisions are all yours. And so we ask today, on the call we have Esther Ehiarua from Benin. Esther has already received a grant, and one of the things that she's going to be doing in the next few weeks is learning how to make a proper business budget, and how to plan for the next year, and how to do quarterly plannings and get approvals for the calendars. Some of these things are new to several of our small business owners. It's not easy to introduce this kind of change, and the life that we live on the digital side can be a bit complex for certain demographics to manage. So in view of this, we use a system called community endorsement. It means that within your community, like Julia was saying, lean on your network. If you're not able to manage this, there must be someone within your community who's better able to do so. And so we ask that you lean on that person and get them within that community to join efforts with you to learn how to better manage your finances. Now we have come past the half mark on today's program, and I'm sure that both Elizabeth Yan and Favor Kwenyefo are waiting to know which one of them are going to go away with our basket today. Because of the way this program is designed, we ask the candidates to send us videos showing themselves and what they're doing and asking for this investment. We also require that they involve members of their community, because the investments that we make are not only for the women, but also for their local communities. So today, members of the panel, I would like to ask you, which one of the ladies whose videos you have watched will you be supporting with your votes today, and why? Now, I will begin with Julia. Hi, Julia.
Hi. So I want to tell you both, ladies, that I was so impressed with your businesses and your passion and your entrepreneurship. I really enjoyed learning more about you and feel very confident that you will both be tremendously successful. Today, so first of all, hello, Elizabeth. Where is she?
She was here just now. Hi, Elizabeth. Favor's still here. I can still see Favor.
Hi, Favor. I was really impressed with your business idea, and I thought that you did a tremendous job of building on your skill set as a cosmetologist. I really loved your use of essential oils and just your thoughtful approach. It's clear that you'll be employing a lot of women. I will say that I was very, very impressed also with Elizabeth, and I loved your big vision. You talk about a manufacturing plant, and Elizabeth, hi. I have to say that, Elizabeth, you're going to be getting my vote today, and I'll tell you a few reasons why. So first of all, you're a woman with a big vision, and but you're very practical about how to get there. So, I really appreciated that you saw a need in the market. You started to create your paste and the oil. You've thought about processing and packaging. You've developed a great brand. What really stood out for me was your focus on youth. And that really had me hooked when you said, I'm looking at really employing youth. And you're a woman of passion and power. What I also really appreciated is in your video, you had a few other people on there who were your references, who could speak to the power of your product and stand behind it. And so I just want to tell you that I believe in you. I think you're well on your way, and I think that you're both winners today, but you have my vote.
Thank you, Julia. So the first vote has gone to Elizabeth. I will swing to Louisa. Louisa, you are an entrepreneur too, and you have walked this road with nearly nothing in your pocket. Who are you giving this basket to?
All right. First, I'd like to congratulate both candidates. I think they've done an amazing job. First, and secondly, you're representing a very important industry in agro-processing. Food is an important part of human beings, and we need food every day to survive. So well done on that. My vote today also goes to Elizabeth Yan. First of all, I felt like she understands the challenges that the farmers are actually experiencing. Excess food and no market. I also like the fact that you actually have value adds. You're actually adding value to the farmers' produce. Thirdly, I also love your ambitions. I like that you've gone past thinking about selling your products within the community to actually exporting it outside your country, in the continent, and actually in the world generally. Fourthly, you've got huge impact, first on the farmers, on the youth, and on the women as well. Thank you.
And the third one, we are hoping that Megan is still on the line. I see you.
Sorry, it broke up, so I didn't know you were saying me.
Who gets your vote?
So I agree with everyone that both women did a fantastic job. I'm impressed with both pitches and really that both of you will be successful. And I hope that you can both be in contact with me afterwards, because I'd like to give both of you 3 months free access to our premium platform. So I'm hoping that at least both of you can walk away with some pride. Um, my vote actually goes to favor. I think that in the beauty and agricultural processing space, a lot of people try to sell similar products, and your focus on differentiation for me and what makes your product special and better means that you'll be able to rise out of the crowd. But I'd love to give both of you a prize, so please get in touch with me after this.
Thank you. Thank you, Megan. Now, ladies, we have come to that crucial point. The reason why we have 5 fingers on this call making a hand is because we cannot have a tie. And so at this point, you can see that 2 earlier votes have gone to Elizabeth, and this 3rd vote has gone to Favor. This is where I say to both of you, Elizabeth and Favor, my sisters, you're both winners here. No matter what happens with the next 2 panelists, we will support you both. Whoever does not get the basket today, we will help you to make your pitch better. We will give you support as an entrepreneur, and within 6 months, we will help you to pitch again, and we'll expect you to reapply. On that note, I'm going to go to the next, and my list here is Yetunde Adepoju. Yetunde, you are our finance coach today. Coachy.
Okay, thank you. And I want to say congratulations to both of you ladies. It was a very, very close one for me. I want to echo what Julia and Louisa and Megan, what they all 3 have said. What I look at in terms of the brand and how far it can take your business and what you guys are focusing on, I looked at that. I also considered, kind of what are you doing to address a particular problem in the society. I think you're both looking at employing more people, so that's great. I like the fact that Favor, you talked about going green and making sure that your packaging was safe for the environment. I thought that was forward thinking. And as you know, our planet in general is at risk right now. So I like the fact that you were thinking about that. I love the fact that you were looking at, you used your cosmetologist expertise to create natural products, which is the trend right now with turmeric soap and moringa and all of those good things. However, again, my vote goes to Elizabeth today, and the reason being that she brings that in-depth knowledge of farming, because it's something she mentioned that it's part of her family business. She has thought this through. She has the experience, the knowledge. I like the fact that, food waste is also a problem in today's society all over the world. So I like the fact that she's using the excess supply and convert it into something of value and addressing a gap in the market. I like the fact that you mentioned that you were thinking big. You were looking at agro-processing on a large scale and export, as a matter of fact. I like the fact that you were looking at addressing unemployment in your country. So for all of those reasons, I am giving you my vote today, Elizabeth. I have to say to Favor, please do not be discouraged. If I can offer any advice as a financial coach, I think having diverse lines of business is great. But I think that in terms of capital and because you're a micro business, it's important to have maybe a focus. I'm not saying discard your dream of your peanut business and your soap production, but look at what is the need right now in your area and focus on that, something that you can scale out, okay? And look at the local market, the competition as well. Peanut is good, it's a snack, but can you really get to that skill? What are the local, what's the competition like locally? Tilapia market, as you said, it's very scarce. Maybe you want to focus on that. So for right now, how you want to grow your business. Because sometimes when you have too many things, you're looking at too many things at once. Sometimes it may sort of divert, and with the grant, you may be spread too thin with those 3 lines of business, if you understand what I mean. So I just want to encourage you to keep going, but to maybe rethink which one of those that you can probably scale out and will serve the most need in the society at the moment. Thank you.
Thank you, Yetunde. Thank you so much. That was very, very clear. Dorothy, yours would be the deciding vote this afternoon.
I like that, Funke. Okay, so congratulations to. Sorry, Funke, you were speaking and I
I'm
couldn't quite
sorry.
hear.
That's okay. I
Okay.
was saying, the general who's worked with 20,000 women in business, you have that experience. Who gets it?
Okay, so congratulations to both the ladies. I think any woman who's doing something to make money for herself, to put food on the table for the family, it deserves an award. So congratulations to both the candidates. And like others have also offered on this call, I do a lot of training of of entrepreneurs in business management skills, and I would also like to offer to both the ladies. I think we can get connected by email or WhatsApp, what have you. I'm very happy to have conversations with both the ladies. And that being said, I don't want to repeat what has already been mentioned, but my vote is going to go to Elizabeth for two primary reasons, and one is the focus and just the sense of focus that you have, Elizabeth, and also the hugeness, if I may put it that way, of the dream. So I think big, dream big, and then go for it. For Favor, yes, again, for me, it was the fact that there were 3 lines of business that you were looking at, and we're only talking about $500. So I don't want to echo what I want to echo what Yetunda has said without actually repeating it. But again, we're happy to have those conversations about honing in. And that's also to say that there's nothing wrong with having multiple businesses, because we know, I mean, if you, COVID has shown us that if you rely on one thing, you could get yourself into a lot of trouble. But again, it has to be done very carefully and planfully. So congratulations to both the ladies. You're both winners. And my vote goes to Elizabeth. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dorothy. And there you have it. Elizabeth. Hey, Georginawa. Are you happy?
I'm really happy. I'm overwhelmed, actually. It's nice and it's great to be the one that everybody is after and everybody wants to support. So I'm honored and I feel happy. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Now, within the next week, a member of the Ties Africa team will get in touch with you, and they'll get the details sorted out so you can receive a wire transfer. You will begin with 50% of it. When you have made use of that, you will explain to us what you did and what your budget is for the next 50. In that time, you will be taught how to do proper budgeting, and we will show you other methods of getting your work out there. Also, Dorothy, Ms. Tuma has offered very generously to support you both. I would encourage you to take up that offer. It's a network extension that will do you good, I promise you that. Favor, I will expect that we will see you and we will continue to relate with you until such a time when you are able to do this again. We will expect you to reapply, and in the meantime, we will put you into our database and give you all the support that our women get. So ladies, Adwola has just said that it's time to take that shot together, that beautiful screenshot with our smiles of powerful African and sisters of African women. Shall we put on our video cameras? Megan, are you there? Wendy, whenever you're ready.
I shall give everybody a countdown. So please, your best smiles in 3, 2, 1. Thank you all very much. It's been beautifully captured for the future.
Thank you, Wendy. We have today made an impact in several lives. My life has been touched. I've learned quite a lot today. I've taken notes. I've taken 2 pages of notes, actually. and I believe that I'm not the only one who has learned. Before I begin to round up, I had a question that came in just before the program started. Lady Funke Anurunkem, and she happens to be my namesake, made a request. She is CEO of an automobile company, and she wants to know how to address investors to help her. She wants the kind of funding that we are not yet able to give. She's looking for $3 to $4 million, and is a very innovative platform that she wants to set up. She's not the only one. On the other side at Oasis, and this kudos goes to my mother, Professor Abiola Awoshika, who asked us, how are we facing education entrepreneurship? It is one thing for us to provide funds to help small businesses. How are we also helping the next generation to be educated to do this work? I would like Julia to quickly take that question before I begin to look at rounding up. Julia, would you please? You're muted.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say big questions. Not sure I really, have the answer. So your first question regarding how would she get investment, I would offer that she speaks with me offline. I'd love to connect and just listen to, sort of talk through her idea and put our heads together in terms of who, sort of hear her plan and sort of see who's in the space, and would love to hear her pitch and see if I can help either make a connection or whether it's in alignment with us. In terms of, I think, certainly I can speak from the philanthropic space a little bit. And, I think what's on everyone's mind is relevant education and youth and sort of the youth bulge, and also how does education lead to meaningful employment? And I think it's questions that we're all grappling with. And I don't know if we really have the answers, except that I'm seeing a lot of funders try and be more innovative in their thinking and sort of break into new models and sort of challenge themselves in terms of their funding and think about scale and think about sort of the continent and move beyond focus on sort of small ideas to the big ideas. I would, Dorothy, what would you add to this?
Yes, Dorothy.
Thank you all. I think everything that Julia has said, yes, but also being able to, have that very succinct, very targeted, what they call pitch decks, so that you can share your idea very quickly. Some of these people have very short attention spans, and they make their decisions within 3 minutes of listening to what you have to say. So to be able to get the essence of your idea across very quickly, that is something that I would encourage. And you need to be on top of your numbers. So they ask you a question that has to do with your numbers. You need to be able to respond to that to show how well you thought through it. I think that's what I would add to that. And don't get disappointed. You may have to pitch 10 times before you actually land on the person who will actually be interested in funding you or in working with you. So don't be discouraged if you get a few no's at the beginning. Use that all as learning experiences to get to where you eventually need to be.
Thank you, Dorothy. Ladies, there you have it. All that expertise and insight and supportive love from my sisters today. Thank you so much for being here with me. I am honored by your presence. I am glad that we're walking this road together. To each one of you, I express my profound thanks once more, and I assure you that I myself will be available for you whenever you need me. Those who have been watching us from outside, thank you for staying with us for the whole hour. I would like to thank Jonathan Morajikimana and the other people who support us. Jonathan is in charge of helping us to gather the information from women in Burundi. Thank you to Charles Itekamba Ekane, who's working with us in the UK and in Swaziland as well. Thank you so much for the tech work that you do behind here. We're glad that we're done today. We love the children. They are welcome. They're the reasons why we do this, because of the next generation. Ladies, we did say that promptly at 5 p.m. we will round up, and this is that point. The Yorubas say, Arimi. She says thank you, but today is good. We'll receive more. So ladies, thank you again for doing this. Receive my thanks. And I hope to see you again. Have a nice weekend, and thank you for giving us your Saturday.
Thank you.
Yeah.